Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Greg from Tales from the Pythian, and I'm back with another prep video for Foundry VTT, this time Curse of Strahd. So I've been running a Curse of Strahd game for, I don't know, a couple years now, I suppose. It's one of those that we play, once a month, twice a month, every once in a while. Take the summers off because I got a player that runs a camp, so he's pretty busy during the summertime. So it's been going on for a while. Characters are about 8th level. But what has happened is a very exciting thing. I use content by a creator called Beneos Battlemaps, and they just released their 3.0 version of the Beneos universe, because it's more than the Curse of Strahd, ladies and gentlemen. If you've never seen it before, I suggest you check Ben out. They do fantastic work. They're, I want to say battle maps, but it's more than that. It's a whole ecosystem. It's like battle maps and scenes, and he's got a whole kind of world where he drops in all these different creations that he's got going on, and it's just really, really a cool thing. But this particular video is about the new landing page that Ben dropped with this 3.0 release, and all the updates that have come along with it. It's like something like 75,000 assets, not just for the Curse of Strahd again, but this is across his entire portfolio. And just a lot of cool things. But he added a landing page for the Curse of Strahd and the maps that he creates, maps and scenes that he creates for those. So this is animated, as you can see. It's beautiful. Got the bats flying. We have the clouds rolling. We've got the music by John Robb, which is also part of their team, kind of doing its thing, and it's very sweet. So what I want to talk about today is, one, why am I updating? Well, I just told you. 3.0 version. But unfortunately, the recommendation, or fortunately, depends on how you look at it, the recommendation directly from Ben in a video I'll link down below is that he recommends for the smoothest transition to create a new world and kind of push everything in there. So the way I organize my things, that's not an incredibly hard thing to do. I use compendiums that I've made so I can move things between worlds. So it's relatively straightforward for me to do it. No big deal. So let's talk about what I've done with this landing page. Let's talk about what this landing page does just by itself, and then I'm going to talk about also the changes that I've made. So there's a few parts to it, man. So you see we have over here we're on the home page. We have a map, we have characters, we have a journal, and we have Tarokka. And the journal has about 3 separate parts to it just in there. But I'm going to start on this home page. So this is obviously what your players are going to see when they come into the game. This is where they're going to land. And what I like to do is just kind of make it a convenient spot, right? So a lot of that work's been done for me. Most of the time I've had to create my own and do all of this in the back end. So all I did here, I added these tiles with my character's token images. I used Monk's active tile triggers to set these tiles up that if the player clicks on their token, it opens the character sheet. If the player that owns the character clicks on it, it will open the sheet. If he clicks on one he doesn't own, it won't. That's a permissions thing. So that's easy peasy. I used, oh gosh, what's the name of the module? It is advanced drawing tools to get the text to center align. Okay, so that's another module I've used. Very simple, very not doing anything huge here, just center aligning text. It gives the option where vanilla Foundry doesn't. And then token magic effects, which is a module that allows you to apply effects to tokens, tiles, and drawings. I generated these effects, and what I tried to do is just, one, it was to draw attention because this is a different kind of a layout from the previous landing page of the iteration of Curse of Strahd my players are currently in. So this is an attention grabber. It's meant for them to see it sparkling out of the corner of their eye and go start clicking, and I think it will work. So, and I tried to kind of theme it with the character, right? So my abjuration wizard who loves to cast lightning bolts is a lightning. My circle of spores druid is this green swirly looking like spores. My Asimir is this, golden sunshine. My fighter's got the blood splatter, so on and so forth. Just to draw attention, click on it, boom, there's the character sheet. They can do their thing on their character sheet and check it out. Keeps it comfortable. They come in here, they kind of have some banter prior to the game, talk about things that have happened during their week, talk about things that happened in the game last time, look at their character sheet, review anything they found, their items, all that sort of stuff, and it works out pretty cool. And then the last two things I did, one, I added this tile up here. This is of my creation in Mid-Journey, just because I love this red light kind of roiling, and the way it casts the light on the tile kind of makes it look eerie, gives a little foreshadowing. And then finally, which you won't see now, but we'll see it again. We'll see it, not again, we'll see it for the first time. Well, I'm going to show you the player's perspective when I get done at the end. But I adjusted lock view. So lock view is a module that allows you to literally do that. Lock the view for the players when it loads for them to see it in a certain way or a certain context. And Ben uses that in his maps anyway. I just modified the settings to suit my needs and the changes that I made to the scene, essentially. So I am very excited about this. I can't wait to show it off to you. And yeah, so let's just talk again about the tiles. So very simple, just like my previous video, which I'll link below or in a card somewhere. The last one I did for prep, I talked a little bit about Monk's active tile triggers. I did a very basic tile where I did a pit trap. This is also a very basic tile. All we're doing here is calling a command to open the actor sheet of this character for the triggering player, and that's it. And because that player has permission to view their character, right? Configure the ownership, right? Owner, it will open. Whereas if they try to say open another player's, it would not. They're going to get an error, and you're going to see that again when we look at from the player's perspective. Okay. The token magic effects, man, you guys have to know about that. If you don't, check it out. It's a free module, and it's just got all kinds of cool effects that, like I said, you can place them on tiles and tokens and text, and you can do a lot of cool things. There's a lot of videos by a creator called Bailey Wiki, who can really give you some very, very good insight and some very creative ways to use token magic effects and tiles. I suggest you check them out as well. They're fantastic. And yeah, so, and then just as a utility, I wanted to mention I did use Ripper's macro wheel to do the effects, right? So all it's doing is, if I were to go to the drawing tool and I click on this and then I hit my middle mouse wheel, it's going to open up macro wheel, and it's just looking in my folder. And I have mine set to look at the root of the directory. So it's going to pick up every single thing that I have in that folder, and I can just get to any of the macros that I want to. So right here are my token magic effects macros. So whatever I'm clicking on, if I were to say click one of these effects, it would apply it to said object, whether that be a token, a tile, or text, right? So as an example, we'll just pop this in here and we'll just name it sample text, right? Apply that, there it is, close it. And then if I have this thing selected and I pop the macro wheel up, go to token of magic effects, and let's put a fire shield on that thing. It's going to run that macro, and there you go. It was probably a bad example, but you get the idea. So that's all it does, is it just allows you to get to your macros really quickly. Again, that's by Ripper, and that's what I used it for. Here was just being able to click on it and quickly apply the macro instead of having to go down to the folder, go to my token magic effects. Sorry, that one's the incorrect one. Portfolio here, find the one I want, click on it. Oh, that's not the one. Open it back up, go to the delete by placeables. Sure, I could drag them down here, but again, limited space, and I like to try to keep things as efficient as I can. So that's the home page changes. Added some tiles with some token images for my players. Used Monk's active tiles to allow the players to be able to open up their character sheets to review them prior to the game. Put some center aligned text underneath of them to give the information of the name, the race, or the lineage rather, and then the class and subclass, and then Ripper's macro wheel to use token magic effects to apply an effect. And then we just threw a tile in here and then adjusted our lock view. That's it. That's the home page done. And it didn't even need that, right? Out of the box, these tiles, the Barovia map, the characters, the journal, and the Tarokka deck, they all function. Ben gives you that straight out of the gate. Speaking of which, let's check out that map. Very cool. So we click the map. Again, the player's view is going to look completely different from this, and it is going to be using lock view, so it's going to be looking more like this when we get into the player view. I didn't have to do a lot in here. All I did here was I went around to all of the points of interest and locations that my players have been to, and I adjusted the permissions of the journal entries so that they would be visible on the map for the players, and when they cursored over them, would then display the name. Also, Ben includes these tiles that have like the names of locations and the landmarks, and they come by default hidden because when you start the campaign, they're not going to know where any of these places are, and as they discover them, the intention here is that you just unhide them. So I had to come in and unhide the ones that my players had found, and leave the ones they hadn't found hidden. Very cool map though, right? I absolutely love it. I believe that's really all I did in the map. Let me just look. Oh, he also includes homebrew locations by both Mandy Mod and Dragna. There were a bunch of those locations that were in red, denoting that they have not yet been created, and so I just removed the ones that were red that hadn't been created. I could not figure out a way to hide them on the player's map. It was very strange. It wasn't a permissioning thing. I just couldn't hide them. I assumed it was how it was set up, so I just deleted them and I was done with it. If you know what I was doing wrong, please let me know. That would be cool. But I don't think they'll be released before I finish this game anyway. But that was the only thing I had to do. And one last thing, I did change. He provides a token, a party token. I did change that party token to be a group token, which is core Foundry. Right, so then I could just drag and drop the player characters in there, show myself what their inventory is, what group gold they have, all that sort of thing, and that was it. That's the extent of what I did for the map. But again, it's beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. I love it. All right, so this next one is pretty cool. Characters. This is neat. I never would have thought to do this, but it's really cool. So all of the text on here comes by default hidden, as do all of the portraits of the NPCs. And the idea here is, as your characters explore Barovia, and of course first stop is Village of Barovia, and they meet Ismark in the Blood of Divine Tavern, right? Then you unhide Ismark, and now that NPC is visible, and they can always come here and they can kind of see the people that they've met and interacted with and help them maybe remember things. It's a big deal. There's a lot of non-player characters in Curse of Strahd, right? So it's very helpful. Not everybody remembers half of these guys, right? Or the circumstances under which they met, or what might particularly happen in a campaign versus another campaign from a DM's point of view. So I think this is just helpful to jog the memory. And I use image hover as another module, which is what's popping the image up in the bottom corner there. It really lets them, be able to experience the art and give life to that character, if you will, kind of breathe a little additional life. So I never would have thought to do something like this, and I think it's very cool. And I will definitely consider stealing this for my other campaigns and putting something like this maybe in a slightly adjusted way in my other games. I just think it's cool. Very cool. So on to the journal page. Again, I thought this was neat. It's very elegant. It looks cool. So we have literally the tile that looks like a book. And then we have 3 tiles on the page. Comes with 3 tiles. It's the empty checkbox, the checked checkbox, and the X'd out checkbox. Those are 3 separate tiles. And then the rest, of course, is just text. You grab it, duplicate it, change the font, whatever you want to do to name your quest. So obviously, the way I look at this is it's a 30,000 foot view of my quests. A lot of quests have multiple objectives inside of them, right? So we have to go find the MacGuffin, and then we have to take the MacGuffin over here and, you know, perform a ritual on it. And then we have to take the transformed MacGuffin over to so-and-so and deliver it to them. But there's not really that amount of space in this journal, right? There's some finite space. So what I decided to do here, because I wanted to use it, was to just give the quest name, and when the quest is completed, and these are all current active quests, there are quests that have already come and gone, but I wasn't going to populate all that. When the quest is completed, whether it's done or failed, I'll change the tile. But what I did do, I did adjust it from having to, like, say, copy and replace the tile. I used multi-face tiles, and I just baked these other 2 images into the single tile. And let me show you what I mean. So if I grab the tile and click on it, you see up here I've got all 3 of the images, and I can just switch between them. So if this one gets completed, we just check it off. Oops, this one doesn't get completed, it's an X, right? And it's the same principle all the way down the list. So I just feel like that's just a little bit easier. And, you know, I could as well probably figure out a way to do it, you know, make it even easier if I wanted to, but I wasn't real super worried about it. I felt like that was enough, and again, a lot faster than copying and pasting. So then you're wondering, well, if they're at the beginning of the game, right, do they look at this? Why don't they just go to their quest log? Like, so again, I use Forian's quest log to manage my quests, and they could always go into the journal notes and find the quest log and open it up and look at the entire thing. But I thought I would make it a little bit easier for them, and if they just click on the tile, it will just open the quest, right? Because Monk's active tile triggers works, it supports Forian's quest log. So it's a very simple, again, this is a very simple tile. All I do is I go into the triggers with a click for anybody, allow when it's paused. That's important because I keep my game paused at the beginning, so that means it will function while it's paused. All I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, open the Forian quest log quest, that one for the triggering player, so he's the only one that sees it, and that's it. And I just went straight down the list and did that, and bam, there you go. Now just one-stop shop. They can look at any single quest they want to, no worries. They can get all the way down into here and look at the artwork that they want. This art comes from Pyram King's Legends of Barovia. I've used his stuff in my game as well. Fantastic content. You should check him out. Pyram's amazing. So, yep, that's the journal. And then what's really cool is down in this journal, we've got 3 additional tabs. So it's like really 3 in 1. If we go to the next one, it's very, very, very straightforward. This is just player notes. It's just a location for a player that's got permission to open the notes, to pop it open, add a page. You know, it could be tonight's game, right? And then they can type in anything they want to and save it, and they've got that note. And then the next session, they can just do, you know, another one, and they can keep track of their notes, and they can cross-reference with each other and however they want to do it. And I think this is really good. I struggle with player notes. It's either they take notes on their desk, and that's fine. I don't have any problems with that. But you know how that goes. You move things, you change things, you spill things, like stuff happens to paper notes, and that's what it is. Some people take notes in OneNote. That's great as well, but these are all outside medians, right? Like, I really would love to have something that's centralized where everything's inside the game for them, so it's like a one-stop shop. The argument, of course, is they cannot review the notes when the game is closed. Well, don't you use the Forge, Greg? No, I used to. I didn't like it. Sorry, wasn't for me. I host local. That's my preference. So they have a fair point there, but we'll see how this turns out. If this doesn't work out so well, I'll try to find a different use for this tab, because I just think this is super cool. Or maybe I just eliminate it altogether and we don't even see it anymore. So the next tab, this is just a cool visual. All this are the 4 artifacts of Ravenloft as tiles, and then as your players find them, you can unhide them so that they see them displayed here, almost like, I see this like Indiana Jones style, like an archaeologist, like, or even Rudolph Van Richten, sketching the image of these things that they've heard about or studied over time and into this book. And it's just, it's just a role-playing thing, and I like it. I just think it's cool, and I appreciate it being added. So the last page. That was a pause for dramatic effect. The Tarokka Page. This is so super cool. So these cards, they all came basically face down. It was just a single image. Again, I use multi-face tiles to add the image of the cards from the reading with Madame Eva that they had at the beginning of the game. See, he says right here to replace the card tiles with cards you've drawn. As opposed to replacing them, I just added an additional image. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know if I thought maybe I'll flip them to reveal them as they go, and I was like, no. I was like, I don't know why I did it, but I can almost see maybe using it for the reading. Maybe they're definitely probably better ways to do that. I wasn't really thinking it through. I just sometimes get in this really deep nerd place and want to do things like that, and I just do it. So anyway, the card reading, card 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The color or the effect applied, token magic effects. All this is to give a visual indication to the players that they have solved card 1 and card 3, the Tome of Strahd and the Sun Sword respectively. And they have 2, 4, and 5 to go. Well, what if they want to know what that card reading was? What was that card about? Do we have to go back to the quest log? No. Why? Monk's active tile triggers, my friends. I swear by it. I'm telling you, you can do so many cool things with it. And again, this is a very basic, easy thing to do. My player clicks on that card, boom, there's the reading. This card tells of history. Knowledge of the ancient will help you better understand your enemy. There is a town where all is not well. There you will find a house of corruption, and within a dark room full of still ghosts. The same happens for card 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? And because everybody's running in a browser, except for me, they can pop these out and, stick them off to the side if they want to, reference them. And I think that's fantastic, because one of the biggest struggles I've had in the game is, how do you keep this card reading in front of the players? How do you maintain this as the focal point once it happens? There's a lot of noise in Barovia, right? There's a lot going on. It's kind of disjointed a little bit. Like, when you get to Vallaki, things go crazy. There's all kinds of stuff going on. How do you keep this in front of the players? How can you make them look at it every single game session? I mean, it's been in their quest log, right? But in order to get to it, they actually have to come in here, and they've got to find it. They've got to click on it, and then they've got to read down through it. So it's a little bit little bit deeper, a little bit deeper in the clicks to get to it. And when they're all talking at the beginning, maybe they're not thinking about it, but we know what they are doing when they're talking at the beginning on the landing page. They're clicking around through the different places that they can go. They're going and they're looking at the map. They're looking at the characters that they talk to. They're going to be coming to the Tarokka reading, and they're going to click on the card, and the card's going to give the information, and they're going to read it. And hopefully that's going to be helpful and continue to kind of put those things in the forefront to where they're saying, well, who's this woman that is more than the sum of her parts? Like, have we met somebody like that yet? Like, we need to keep an eye out for somebody like that. You never, just it keeps it in the forefront. And I think that is exceptionally helpful. So what have we used here in this whole landing page, which is fantastic? I'm going to go back to the home page here, which is beautiful. I'm going to tell you straight out of the gate, guys, this doesn't need anything. Out of the gate, you can use it exactly how it is. You just follow any of the instructions that he posts on any of these pages, right? Just reveal the characters, add your quests if you want to, give your journal permissions, unhide any artifacts they find, and replace the images on the cards for your Tarokka readings. And just like that, man, it is awesome. And you're rolling. Again, you got the music by John Robb that is just giving the atmosphere. It is a beautiful landing page. It's elegant and I love it. But you can customize it, right? You can add to it, you can tweak it. So we used Monk's active tile triggers, right? We used token magic effects. We used advanced drawing tools. We used the macro wheel. We have image hover going on. We used multi-face tiles. That's really about it. Lock view. We didn't do, so again, Ben uses lock view for all of his maps anyway. I just adjusted the settings to suit the way I wanted it to look to my players when they got to the page. That's the only thing that I did with that. So that being said, let's look what it looks like from the player's view. So let's use Danny. Take Danny in there. So when he comes in and it loads up, player is there. Boom. So I can't zoom, can't pan, right? This is exactly how I want it locked. Everything's going. It's beautiful. He can try to click on Bryn's character and he's going to get the warning. He doesn't have permission to view the actor. Functions just like we want it to. Clicks on his character sheet. His character sheet opens just like we want it to. He can check his inventory. If he had spells, he could review those. Whatever he's got going on, he can check it out. Where are his hit points from the last game? Do we need a long rest? All these kind of things that we need to be trying to decide about. And then what's he gonna do? Let me see where we're at. I'm gonna go to the map, right? So he goes to the map. Oh, we're up here at the werewolf den. Here we are. We're all there. Oh, okay, look at our hit points. What's our inventory look like? Fantastic. Van Richten's Tower, Kresk, Valaki. Could zoom in if he wants to. Like Zarovich, right? There's the Castle Ravenloft. I mean, the map's beautiful. It's absolutely great. And then when he's ready to move on, he can go back to the home, or he can say, well, we were in Kresk. Who did we meet in Kresk? Let's look at the characters, right? Village of Kresk. Well, they really only met one person so far, Dmitry Kreskov, the burgomaster of Kresk, right? Or wait a minute, I thought we had to take something back to somebody in Valaki or whatever. They just have the opportunity to go back and look, review, and see the players that the non-player characters that they have already met, the supporting cast, the cast of characters that prop this game up. Let me read my journal notes from last time, right? I'm gonna pop into my journal notes and see what I typed. If I, great. That's my hope. Let's hope for that, guys. Come on. Take notes. Oh, let me go back over to the quests. Find Gertruda. Oh man, I don't remember that. That's when would we get that one? Oh, okay. That's from the village of Barovia. Oh gosh. Okay, that's a long time back. Okay. I remember seeing her house. Right. So So it's kind of cool, right? It works well, and I dig it. The 2 items that they have, again, this is just kind of like I said, like it's a visual RP thing, a theater of the mind RP thing for me here. And then again, finally, that Tarokka deck, card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4, and card 5. And this time, because they are going to be in a browser, they can pop it out, right? And they are absolutely good to go. And I don't even know if you can, you might, nah, you can't do that, but you know, so they can keep the ones that they want out if they choose to do so, or if they think they're hot onto one, you know, they keep that one out, or maybe they just close them all. Either way, it works, but they have an easy, quick way to reference a lot of information. They have all of their quests at the tip of their fingers, 30,000 foot view. And if they want to know more about that specific one, they can drill into it right there on the journal page. They can jump over here to the Tarokka reading. They can see the reading. They can read each card individually and know where they stand. And they can then formulate together as a group, talking through that, what their plan is for that session or how to pursue their goals. And I think that's huge, right? Information is power. And then of course we go back to the landing page, which again is absolutely beautiful. Now listen, I'm going to recommend that you guys go check out Beneos Battlemaps. He's got another Patreon he does as well with tokens, but check out the maps first. Just go check out the maps. Do yourself a favor. You're a game master. Go check it out. I will put videos in the description below of his announcement for Beneos Battlemaps 3.0. There will also be a link to a 40-minute walkthrough of the entirety of Castle Ravenloft. Guys, all his battle maps and scenes are linked together. This is an ecosystem. It's amazing. You can traverse the entirety of Barovia without ever going up to the top up here or going over to your scenes on the right. I promise you, it is absolutely astounding and beautiful. My players love it. I've been using his maps since before we were using Foundry. Like I said, it's been in Foundry for about 1.5 years, and been using Ben's map for almost 2 years. I was using them with Above VTT over in D&D Beyond. And they're fantastic. So check them out. If you guys have any questions about any of the modules that I mentioned, there will be links for all of those down in the description below as well. If you have any questions about anything I did, everything I did is really very basic here for the landing page. I think it is anyway, but if you have any questions, or if you have any suggestions, or if you have anything you want to see or anything like that, just just drop it in the comments and let me know. And you know, we'll try to do what we have to do to address it, right? Or answer it, or talk about it, or have a good time. And if you like this video, guys, give a thumbs up, right? Just hit that like button. We're going to try to make more of these, try to be very consistent with them for you. If there's anything you want to see specifically, let me know, because again, I'm prepping 4 games, right? 2 5e, 1 Shadow Dark, 1 Cypher System, and they all have different nuances to them and different things that I use, because not all modules are compatible with all systems, right? Some are for 5e specifically. So, you know, but yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you check out Ben. I'm Greg. This is Tales from the Pythian. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good evening.